multitasking in different windows and sessions and multitasking in different windows, multitasking in different windows and sessions. So yeah, I'm back again. Had a little break purely because of the fact that I went on holiday to have, you know, a holiday, and then I got back and I started a new job, and I've been ill, and I went to Cube Huddle in Edinburgh, and I've just not had time to make anything. So I actually recorded some of the screen and TMUX stuff before I went on holiday with the intention of finishing it when I got back, not realizing quite how busy I'd be when I started my new job. So yeah, finally got a few minutes over the weekend to get this finished up, and that's what we're going to do. So we've got screen, we've got TMUX, we're going through those two. They're essentially kind of window managers, if you like, for, not window managers, that's a bad wording of it. It's more of a case of having a session open, so via SSH or directly on the terminal, like say logged into the terminal directly, stood at the computer or server, whatever you're working with, and then you can open multiple windows and tabs in that session. It makes life a lot easier. You can also do things where you can open them split screen and then log into multiple servers and run the same commands on those servers at the same time by typing it in one place. So yeah, it's really useful. It's something I use pretty much every day at work. And as always, let's just get into it. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure screen's installed. If it's not, you can do apps install screen or DNF install screen or whatever system you're using. Just install screen and you should have it. Now, if you type screen, you should get this little welcome message here. Once you've had a nice read through it, you can just press enter or space to return, as it says at the bottom. And yeah, there you go. Exciting, right? And you might be sat there going, Drew, that's the most boring thing I've ever seen. You've just typed screen, it's given me a message, and now I'm back at my terminal. Well, that's not technically true. You're not actually back at your terminal anymore. You're actually in screen. You wouldn't know it because nothing looks any different. But if I type exit, you'll see I won't exit out of my SSH session. I'll actually just terminate screen. And you can see now screen's just appeared and screen is terminating. If I type screen again, you'll see again, looks like nothing's happened, but it has. So let's start with multiple windows within a screen session, essentially. I suppose you could look at it like tabs. What we'd do is we'd run a command. Let's just run top here. So we've got that running. And if I want another session window open, then you have to use the prefix and then a key to do that. So the prefix that I'm talking about in the case of screen is Control A. So if I type Control A, nothing happens. But then if I hit W afterwards, you can see it shows me here the windows that are available. So you can have multiple windows within a screen session, and you can have multiple screen sessions. Okay, so Control A and then W shows me the windows. If I want to create a new window, I could do Control A and then C, and we can see I've got a new one. So I'm just going to type PS in here to show that there's something else. And then I'm going to do Control A and then W again. And now you can see I've got two windows, one of which has a star next to it. That star denotes that I am in this particular window. Now, you can do lots of things with screen. I'm not going to get into every single possible command here because there's so much to do. But if you do Control A and then question mark, you'll see here all of the stuff you can do. So the command key is Control A. That's this little caret here, and then A. And then any of these keys to do any of these things. So for example, we could do C, which creates a new screen, as we saw. We can do W, which shows the windows. We can do reset. We can do splits. We can do kill in the particular screen we're in. We can lock the screen. We can suspend it. There's loads. There's a lot we can do. We can also change the screens if we press space or return to get out of that. We can do things like Control A N for the next screen, which will take me back to the top one. It will loop around. So if I just do Control A N over and over again, it'll just take me to the next available screen. And if it gets to the end, it goes back to the start. I can do Control A and then P, and that will go to the previous screen. And if I do Control A and then W, I can see the numbers here, 0 and 1. I can do Control A and then just 0, or Control A and 1, and it will take me to that particular screen. You can do Control A and then double quote to get a list, which I can then press up and down and select one. Now, you might have noticed that there is a name with it. So if I just go back to that, you can see I've got 0 and 1, but then I've got bash and bash. It's not really a lot of use, okay? You can rename the screen, or you can open a new screen with -T. So from within screen, so let me just go here. I can do another window. And what this will do is, rather than starting up another session, it starts up another window or tab, depending on how you want to look at it. So if I do that and now do Control A and a double quote, you can see here, I've now got one that's named. Okay. So yeah, that's a few different things we can do there. I can do, why is that not selected? There we go. Just ls in there, and now I can do Control A and then K. That'll say, do you really want to kill this window? So Control A and then K will kill the window. Type yes, and that will kill that particular window. Now, if I do Control A and W again, you can see I've only got 2 left. You can do things like renaming screen. You can split the screen. I'm going to just show you the splitting the screen right now. So Control A and capital S will split that screen vertically. You can see this one down here has 2 dashes. That means it's not populated with anything. So if we do Control A and then tab, you can see that my cursor's moved down here. Control A tab, and it's moved back. If I go into this one and then do Control A double quote, I can now select one of the windows that existed to go into there. I can also split vertically with Control A and the pipe key. And again, let's Control A and tab into that. And now I can do Control A and then C just to create a new window in there. So you can see here that there's a lot of stuff you can do here with screen. You can split windows, you can work in multiple things at once. You can do things like you can terminate the current region with Control A and capital X. You can terminate everything but the one you're in with Control A and capital Q. Yeah, so there's a lot. I would recommend having a look at that. So I'm just going to do Control A and D to detach from that particular window. So I could do, I'm now out of the screen altogether. So if I was to exit out again now, I would exit from my SSH session. So I'm outside of it. So if I do screen ls, hyphen ls, sorry, then that's spelled screen right. We can see the session that's currently running. So if I just run screen and then hyphen R, I believe it is, it will reattach to the current window. Okay, the current screen session, sorry. So if I exit back out of that with Control A and D, you can also reattach it with the name. Okay, so you can reattach it using the name that exists here, or if you want an easier way to remember what it's called, you can do screen, capital S, hyphen capital S, another session. And this can have spaces in it. It can be called whatever you want it to be called. Now I'm going to do Control A and D to exit out of that session. Do screen hyphen ls, and you can see now I've got multiple sessions. So if I do hyphen R, let's just show you what happens there. That will not reattach because I now have more than one screen session running. So I now, as you can see, it's telling me I can do a pid.tty.host to resume one of them. So let's just try another session. Let's see what happens there. Oh, look. I can just reattach using another session, the name. I could do 1950.another session or 1475.pts-0.demo1. There's a few ways of doing it. So have a play. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on screen, and I'm not going to spend a hell of a lot of time on TMUX either. I just wanted to give you a quick introduction to these things. So there's screen. There's lots more you can do. You can scroll back and forth and copy and paste and things like that. I'm just going to quickly show you that before we move forward. So I'm just going to reattach to this, and I'm just going to type Y and enter. No, yes and enter. Yeah, there we go. So that'll do a load of Y's basically. So just type in yes and enter. We'll do that. Now, I've got a lot to scroll back on, but as you can see, if I scroll up and down with my mouse wheel, nothing happens. So how would I scroll up to see what had happened recently? To do that, Control A and then left square bracket will enter copy or scroll back mode. So to move to the beginning of a piece of text, you can use the arrow keys. And to mark the beginning of the text, just press space, and then you can move arrow keys again, and then you can press space again to end the copying, and then Control A and the right square bracket key to paste the piece of text. So let's try and do that now. So if I do that, so yeah, you can see now I can scroll up and down, and then if I go into here, all the way over, press space, I can now highlight a load of text. And then I can press space again, and now you can see it's copied into the buffer. If I do Control A and then the right bracket key, it will now paste all that stuff that I've just copied. I could, in theory, do it in vim text for the sake of it. Control A, and then there you go. So there's what I've just copied. So you can see there's a lot you can do. That's where I'm going to leave it for screen. We're going to move on to TMUX next, okay? So let's exit out of those sessions, and let's kill those sessions. So we'll jump out. We should have another one left. And we'll just do screen, capital S, I'm just trying to remember now, 1475, and then uppercase X, and then the word quit. Now, if I've remembered rightly, there you go. That will kill the session. So yeah, there's a lot you can do with screen. It is good. But personally, I think TMUX is better. And the reason for that is because it's like it took screen and went, yeah, these are the good things about screen. Let's improve on it. So I'm just going to show you how I think they've improved on it. One way I think they've improved on it is just the way it looks. So let's type TMUX. And you can see straight away, there's a little bit of color. You can see straight away the window that I'm in. There's no need to type keys to get it. I've got the date down here and the time. I've got the name of my system. It's quite nice straight away. So I'm just going to exit out of that just to start with. You can also do TMUX and then new -s, so just session name. And we're just going to call it Drew. There we go. I'd call it Learn with Drew or something like that, but I'm not going to. And we can also name the window at the same time here as well. So window 0. Let's just call it that. So now I've entered a new TMUX session called Drew, and it's window 0. Brilliant. Good start, right? So TMUX has the same prefix rule, essentially, for doing commands. In the case of TMUX, it's Control B instead of Control A, like screen. So we'll do Control B, and then, well, let's start with question mark, right? And you can see here, we've got the bind key, and then all of this stuff. Now, there's a lot here, for the record. Page up and page down. You can see there's a lot going on. So I'm going to start with Control B and then C. This brings a new window open. As you can see, I'm now in that new window and it's just called Bash, a bit like Windows did. I'm going to type top in there and you can see now it's renamed that window to top. That's really useful. It's quite useful indeed, actually. We can rename that because I don't want it to be called top. I just want it to be called something else. So I could do Control B and then I do comma for renaming and I'm going to call it top window instead. That's what I wanted it to be called. Now, if I exit out of top, it won't change the name of that window. That's been hard coded in as a name. So it won't just change with the command I'm running. You can have all of the windows displayed, a bit like with the Control A quote, by using Control B and W. And you can see now straight away I've got this nice sort of list here. And I've also got a preview of what's going on inside that particular pane. So that's kind of nice. I can see straight away what's in there. Even if I haven't named my tabs or my panes, as they're called in TMUX, then it doesn't matter. I can see it there. Well, I say panes. You can have multiple panes in a window in TMUX. So you can have a TMUX session, which contains windows, and then panes. Panes being the way we split it in screen. It's a similar sort of idea. Point being that you can have a preview there, and that's really nice, and it allows you to easily select things. Okay. In the same way you switch windows with screen, you can do the same in TMUX. So you can do Control B, P, and N. So N being next, and P being previous, and Control B and a number. 0 or 1 in this case. As you can see down here, we've got 0 and 1. And it's kind of the same concept it is in screen. You've got the previous and the next and the number to select it. If you want to get rid of a window, then you use Control B and then ampersand. And it will say, do you really want to kill this window? And you just put Y and there you go. That window's been killed. So a few useful things there. Another thing I like about TMUX is you can actually find a window by name. So if I just go ahead and create a few new windows, let's just Control BC and Control BC, Control BC. Not particularly useful straight away because they're all called the same. So I'll just name one of those, Bash 2, and I'll just go to Window 2 and we'll call that one Bash 1. Confusing, I know, because it's not numbered the same way. It doesn't matter, it's fine. And what I'm actually going to do now is do Control B and then F. And now it's telling me you can find a window. So I'm going to search for top. Ah, look at that. Here's the results. The top window here. Now it's actually got all of them here, look, you can see. But in my search result, I've got this top window here at the top of this terminal. And that makes it nice and easy. If you know that you had something called top or something else, then you can just quickly search for that. You don't have to. Imagine if you've got 15 to 20 windows open and you can't remember the name of it, or you don't want to scroll through because there's a lot there. You've got 100 windows open. Well, this is a way in which you can quickly search and find that window. It's really useful. You can actually also change the index of a particular window as well, which is actually why I called this Bash 1 and Bash 2, because I could go, right, okay, I actually wanted that in a different place. So I'm going to go Control B1, Control B period, and we'll change that to, what I've got, 0, 1, 2. I'm going to change that to number 3. Oh, I've already got a 3? Yes, I have. Sorry, my bad. So I'm going to change it to number 4. Now I've got 0, 2, 3, 4. Well, I can go to B, 2, B period, and 1. There we go. And now B3, and so we can do B period, change that to number 2, and then finally B4, and then B period. When I say B period, I mean Control B, obviously. It's like I say, it's that key one. And we'll change that to number 3. There we go, I've reordered it, and now bash 1 is number 1 and bash 2 is number 2. So you can do a lot more in terms of just managing the windows and the panes and things like that. Much like with screen, you can do Control B and then D, which will detach you from the session. So that's really useful because you can now go ahead and create more sessions. So let's go ahead and do that. We can do TMUX, we'll call it a new session, and we'll call it Drew2, and we'll give it a name of window 0 again, just for the sake of consistency, let's say. I think I spelled that wrong. Yeah, I did. Never mind. Doesn't matter. It's not really about spelling here. So I'm going to run top in that, and then Control B and D. Well, that's useful, right? So what if we want to reattach to that particular window? Then we can just do TMUX, and we can do ls. You don't need the hyphen on this one. And we've got these, Drew and Drew2. For TMUX, it's TMUX attach, and then you put -T and then the session name. So in this case, Drew. Okay, so now we're back in. That's not all though. We can also list other sessions from within this current session, which is really quite useful. So if we want to do that, we can just do Control B and S, and you can see here now I've got Drew and Drew2. So I can actually switch between sessions from my current TMUX session, which is really useful. So, you know, that's a very useful feature. And finally, I'm just gonna do PS in there, and I'm gonna do LS in here, and I'm gonna do, in fact, I'm gonna leave that like that, that's fine. Okay, so I just wanted to get a few things running. The last thing I'm going to show you in TMUX, because again, there is a ton of things you can do, is the panes. Panes being the way you split windows like we did in screen. And to do it in TMUX, we do Control B and double quote, and that will split it horizontally. And to split it vertically, we do Control B and %. And that's really useful because we've now got split windows. What I really like about TMUX though, is if I could do Control B and tab, nothing happens. But if I do Control B and left arrow, or right arrow, or up, down arrow, I can just move around. And you can see I can just do up, down, left, right until I actually settle on one. And as soon as I settle on one, that becomes my tab. My pane, sorry. So that's really useful. You can just move around really easily. If you've got a load of stuff going, you can just flick around and figure out where you want to go, and that's it. You can do things like move to the last active pane with Control B and semicolon. You can swap panes to the current and previous one using the curly braces. So Control B curly brace will go to the previous one. Left curly brace, sorry. Control B right curly brace will go to the next one. You can actually zoom into a particular panel. When I say zoom in, you can make this one bigger. So for example, this one I'm in at the moment, if I do Control B and then Z, that makes that one bigger. It hasn't got rid of the other ones, and the panes still exist. So that's really useful because I can just go, right, I want to zoom into this, do something in here, and then Control B, Z again, and it zooms back out. Useful, right? So yeah, another thing I like about TMUX as well is just silly things. Like, and I say silly things, it can be useful, but let's say I'm working on something, I'm not really paying attention to the time down here, I don't have a time on this screen anywhere else. I could just jump into this top pane and I can do Control B and then T. Oh, I didn't jump into the top pane, but you can see what happened anyway. So now I can leave that running in there while I'm doing something else over here. And it's useful. It gives me the time. Actually, that time's not right. That's an hour behind. It should be 11 o'clock. Oh, well, it's fine. It's probably UTC instead of British on the time. It's not important right now. You can also turn a pane into a window. So for example, right now I've got 3 panes in this window. So with screen, you split your screen and then you have to open up one of your windows into that screen. With TMUX, these are not currently other windows. This is a pane within one window. But if I want this to become a window, then I can just do Control B and then exclamation mark. And as you see, a new window's just been created. Now, if I go back to, I don't actually know which one I was in. Let's just go through until we find it. There we go, that one. That pane has now disappeared and it's been moved into its own window. So there is so much more you can do with TMUX, and I absolutely love TMUX for that because it's so much more powerful. There's a ton of other things you can do as well. I think one of the most important one I would say, obviously there's the copy and paste and scroll backs and things like that as well. But one of the things I really like is the synchronizing panes. So bear with me a second. I think I remember the command for this. I'm just going to Control C that, and let's just clear that. I'm just going to, in fact, there's something going wrong there. I'm just going to clear that. Let's do Control B K, not Control B K. That's my screen command I'm doing there. It's actually Control B X. So I'm just going to kill that pane. And then I'm going to do another split, and another split, and another split, and another split, and another split. Just for fun, why not? So get my Control B in there. There we go. So if I do Control B, I think it's, yep, You can now do things like synchronize panes. So I'm going to have to try and remember this off the top of my head. I believe it's set W, synchronize panes. There we go. Yeah, you can tab and it will actually finish that for you. So you can do loads of things with set W. So I don't know if you can actually just tab. No. Okay, so I can do sync and then tab and it will synchronize my panes. So now what will happen is if I type ls, it's doing it in all of them. Look at that. I can repeat the same thing. Now you can imagine maybe SSHing onto 6 different servers here, then running the synchronize panes command, then starting to do your commands. You could set up 6 servers at once. That's the power of TMUX, and that's why I love TMUX. And if you want to remove the synchronized panes, Control B, and then you just press up and undo that. And now you can see I've just typed the wrong command, but you can see straight away, there it is. The synchronization's been removed. Little footnote there, I actually destroyed an entire database system because I synchronized my panes and accidentally ran the wrong command in restarting the MySQL service instead of restarting the monitoring service. So, you know, use it with caution. But you can see there, again, the power of it. It's stuff like this that allows you to be more productive. You can work quicker. The last thing I'm going to show you with TMUX is how you can customize it. So I'm going to Control B and detach and show you. I'm not sure if I have one, but I might have set one up before this video. No. So you can actually set up something called a TMUX.com. So in here, you can do things like configure what you want your key commands to be. So I've not actually got one open here. So if you bear with me a sec, I'll just quickly grab one. So just a random one example is here. So this is a way of configuring TMUX to however you want it to be. So if I have a look at this, you can see in here, you can actually set a lot of the configuration yourself and you can change some of the key commands. So your Control B might still be the case. You can change that if you want to as well. But you can see here, someone's done it where the vertical split is hyphen and the horizontal split is the underscore. I could change that for a pipe, and that means I could have a hyphen for a horizontal split and a pipe for a vertical split, which it seems a lot more logical to me. So you just take something like this and you put it into your tmux.conf and you'd be able to change how that works. So I'm not sure if you need any prefixes here. It's been a while since I've actually set up a tmux.conf, so bear with me a second. This may or may not work. So I'm going to do that. tmux, I can do Control B and hyphen. There we go. And Control B and pipe. Sorry, I didn't change it for a pipe. It was underscore, wasn't it? Control B underscore. So that's how easy I can modify TMUX as well. Again, really powerful. Highly recommend TMUX over Screen personally, but it's whatever you prefer. And that is where I'm going to leave it. There we go. There we have it. That's your lot. That's Screen and TMUX in a nutshell. Now, I have just noticed on looking back at some of the video that I'm recording that you can probably see a bit of a logo there. So I apologise to Control Plane. I'm not advertising yet. I'm not doing anything there. I'm just wearing the swag from QPuddle. So apologies. I'll blur it out if you need me to. So yeah, anyway, next video, we're going to be going through file system bits and bobs. So just a little bit more on how to create partitions, mount them, a little bit on changing ownership and permissions. I've done a little bit on all of that already, but I just kind of want to wrap this series up with that. And then this series is pretty much going to come to an end. Now, I might look at some of the, so I've basically based this series on the LPIC 101 exam. Now, it's not a guide for the 101 in any way. It's more of an assistance to it. It's not going to help you pass just doing this course only, if you like. It's not a course, it's just a series of videos. And I want to do the same with LPIC 102. But I think rather than doing that directly, I'm probably going to just start on my Kubernetes videos, and we'll dip into parts of the 102 as we do them, because I'm going to do a few different ways of Kubernetes. For example, I'm going to do a video version of the Medium article I wrote a while ago on Kubernetes on bare metal. That's essentially how to set everything up from scratch. So that will cover some of the stuff that would be in the 102, like setting up system D services, a few shell script bits and bobs, and some other bits. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to be doing next. I'm going to start on those Kubernetes videos. I'm also going to cover running Kubernetes via kubeadm, and then we'll start really getting into the depths of using Kubernetes itself. So the first few videos on Kubernetes will be setting it up in different ways, and then we'll start going on to how to use it, different tools we can use within it, external DNS, cert manager, Prometheus, whatever. You know, we'll go through pretty much all of it that I can think of and fit in. So yeah, I'll hopefully see you in the next series after the next video.